The DP and SMI request the mandate of the General Prosecutor to be extended by 2 years, while the SP proposes appointing a provisional General Prosecutor until the relevant institutions are created. All consumers are given a grace period of 90 days to disrupt the illegal connections of water supply, with penalisations applying after February 1. The budget of 1.5 billion LEC for the State Informative Service was contested by the SIS institution and opposition MPs today. Good evening, it's 6 o'clock on Monday the 6th of November 2017. Welcome and thank you for joining us tonight for the English edition of Aura News, bringing you the day's national top stories translated into English 6 days a week. The failure to implement the reform on justice, and especially the non-establishment of the High Council of the Prosecution, has brought strong debates between the majority and the opposition at a time when the mandate of the General Prosecutor expires on December 4. According to sources, the Democratic Party and the Socialist Movement for Integration have coordinated their requests and will ask for the application of the 7-year mandate as predicted by the amendments to the Constitution. This will mean that the current General Prosecutor will hold the position for 2 more years. December 4th is the date when the mandate of the General Prosecutor, Adriatik Llalla, expires, and it is expected that this will cause a debate between the government and the opposition. The constitutional amendments of the justice reform have caused an institutional vacuum due to the fact that the High Council of the Prosecution has not yet been established. According to Article 148, Section 2 of the Constitution, this institution has the right to open the procedures for electing the new General Prosecutor and sending a list of candidates' names for the position to the Parliament. In the current situation, when the High Council of the Prosecution has not yet been formed, there are only 2 solutions to the problem. Either the mandate of Prosecutor Llalla be extended, or Parliament must intervene through an extra legal mechanism. The latter may see the appointment of a provisionary General Prosecutor until the creation of the new institutions of the Supreme Court Council and the High Council of the Prosecution are complete. This is the key moment that separates the parties because even though a concrete decision has not yet been made, it is expected the DP and SMI will request to extend the mandate of the current prosecutor for a period of 2 years. The majority prefers the second solution, appointing a new General Prosecutor to hold the position until the creation of the relevant institutions. The Democratic Party chairman, Basha, stated that the issue of the mandate of the General Prosecutor will be handled according to the Constitution. He confirmed that the opposition will not allow this institution to fall into what he calls the narcotics clause. Meanwhile, the General Secretary of the Socialist Party, Llalla, has made serious accusations against the prosecution relating to the CEZ case. The prosecution has been handling the CEZ case, which involved the investigation into the sale of public assets and privatisation of the energy supplier, as well as the possible involvement of politicians in corrupt economic activities. Bala accuses the prosecution of trying to close the case without conducting any investigations and without taking into consideration any of the findings cited in the conclusive report of the Parliamentary Investigative Commission. Bala condemns the actions by the prosecution who, according to him, have requested the court to close the case on the CEZ, neglecting a document containing the names of politicians suspected of economical crime. The SP MP expressed concern that recently the prosecution rushed to arrest a member of Parliament in less than 24 hours based on very little evidence. However, this case is being neglected. According to Bala, the prosecution is openly being used as a political tool, adding that it will not stop justice from prevailing against any case of corruption, including that which occurred during the privatisation of CEZ. The budget of the State Informative Service was discussed today at the meeting of the Commission of Security. The meeting was conducted behind closed doors by request of the Finance Director of the SIS, Llalla, and a decision by the members of the Commission due to the classified information being discussed. The government predicts an annual budget of 1.5 billion LEC for the State Informative Service. The fund was contested by the SIS institution and the opposition's MPs, who demanded an increase to the budget as, according to them, the fund has been cut in half. In a media statement, the Democratic MP, said that protesting is the democratic way to bring down the Rama government. The Democratic MP did not elaborate on details of dates, deadlines or strategy. The Democratic Party has the institutions which will decide the deadlines, dates and strategy, One thing is certain, the days of this government are numbered. This is not a government for Albanians, but a government for crime and drugs. We have the support of the internationals in our actions, and this is very important, declared the Democratic MP Flamur Noka. Meanwhile, according to sources, an increase of the budget by 5.2% was proposed by the majority for the State Informative Service at the Commission of Security. Learning from past mistakes with the energy reform, the government has decided to alter the procedures for the water reform currently being undertaken. In a move to motivate those customers who have illegal water connections to regulate their supply with the water supplier, UKT, all consumers, both families and businesses, will have a 90-day grace period to self-regulate their connections. The grace period was declared by Prime Minister Rama and begins from today. The aim is to allow time for consumers to regulate their water connections with the water supplier, disrupting the illegal connections and paying outstanding debts. Contrary to the energy reform, the government has decided not to penalise violations on water supply until after February 1, 2018. In the first phase of the water reform, the Prime Minister criticised the inability of every government to appropriately utilise the natural resources of water. According to him, the citizens can have water for 24 hours by using only 1% of the country's water resources. The government has announced the initiation of a national operation for clearing the water network of all illegal connections. According to the Prime Minister, in 27 years of transition, no government has managed to establish a water reform in order to provide all consumers with water supply for 24 hours. The Prime Minister expressed that bad management by every party which has ever been in power is to blame for the current situation. The Minister of Energy, Damian Jiknouri, warned that after February 1, penal procedures will commence against anyone and everyone found in violation. There will be verification and door-to-door intervention for each consumer of drinking water. The inspection and monitoring groups have no choice but to proceed with cutting all illegal connections and commencing penal procedures in cases in violation of the law past February 1st, declared Minister Jiknouri. Currently, 270,000 families or businesses operate without water meters to measure consumption, and the government aims to bring this phenomenon to an end by June 2018. The operation also predicts to formalise individually opened wells and equip them with water measuring devices also. Local units and prefects will be coordinating the national operation for the water reform with the support of the federal government. Following the meeting of the SMI's parliamentary group, Chairman of the SMI, Monica Kryemadhi, confirmed the key mission of their party is the removal of Rama from the post of Prime Minister. Kryemadhi gave a media statement warning that the SMI's focus is on ensuring awareness amongst citizens of the involvement of the government in crime and drugs, as well as creating the political will to reject such a government. The justice reform is weakened, said Kryemadhi in the press release, adding, "We will not allow the Renaissance project to win with democratic narcotics." Kryemadhi continued, declaring Rama is not the solution to the problem, but the source of the problem, as he is a hostage to organised crime. He is a friend to individuals with criminal precedents. He serves only to protect the criminalisation of the Albanian governments and actively fights against decriminalisation at every step. Justice has already fallen at the hands of Rama. The SMI reconfirmed their position as the party with the political will to help the citizens refuse the drug-riddled government. The political will of the SMI is the will of hundreds of ordinary people who reject the involvement of the government in drugs by a Prime Minister who holds the remote control to organised crime. We represent the Albanian people who know we have no more time to lose as Rama opens the wound further and further each day. Political awareness is strengthening hour by hour, day by day, and soon it will be impossible to ignore the popular will of the people, concluded the chair of the SMI. After 11 years, the laws on domestic violence will change. The amendments have been proposed by the Minister of Social Protection, by the Minister of Justice, and relevant interest groups. The organisations which defend women's rights appreciate the initiative, though continue to express scepticism regarding the actual implementation of the law. The amendments predict that the order of protection for victims of domestic violence be issued immediately within 15 days of the denunciation. The order of protection will be a final decision, and the violator will not have the right to appeal the decision. The amendments of the law also predict the violator will not be able to gain custody of any children. Victims of domestic violence will also benefit from legal assistance free of charge offered by the National Chamber of Advocacy and the State Aid Commission. But Sevim Arbana, the director of the organisation for the benefit of Albanian women, expressed uncertainty regarding the application of the amendments. Another amendment on the law of 2006 has been proposed regarding shelter. The law obligates the social service of the central and local power to take immediate measures to shelter victims of domestic violence into social residences. That's all for our English edition this evening. My name is Alexandra. Please join me again Monday through Saturday at 6 p.m. for your local news in English. On behalf of Aura News, thank you and good night.